Hello guys, welcome back to the stream. So I hope I am audible. Can I get yes in the comments if I am audible and visible to you? So I hope I am audible. Can I get yes in the comments if I am audible and visible to you? Okay. So what we are going to be doing is we'll be solving a continuation problem. Okay. So I'll be just opening this Epic Pen and okay. So I think people can hear me. So what we are going to be doing is we'll be solving a problem. Okay, so actually we have solved this type of problem previously also, but that's a little variation is there in the problem, so we'll be discussing that today. So the problem name which we are going to be discussing, I guess most of you guessed from the title of the video. So today we'll be talking about longest common substring. Okay, so this is the problem which we will be solving today, and we'll be discussing how we can solve this and what is the idea and what are the certain things that we need to change in order to use the common code or common DP problem which we have already solved. Okay, so we have seen a longest common subsequence, okay, before also. Okay, so this problem we have already seen. Okay, and today is the continuation for that, and today we'll be solving about longest common substring. Okay, yesterday also we have discussed the idea that we are going to be using here. Okay, we have discussed the idea yesterday itself, how we are going to be solving this problem. So basically what the problem is saying is, the statement here is, suppose we have this S1 and this is something like gigs, or I'll be just writing gig for this example, gig for gigs, and I'll be having S2 here, and in this I'll be having something like this. Okay, suppose I'm having something like this, then the function or the problem should return me the length of the longest substring here. So it is not kick, because kick is not the proper substring here, and the common substring which is there of the maximum length is this one, gigs, and this one. Okay, this length is of only 4, correct, but this length is of 5, and if you have consider longest longest common subsequence, then this G double K and this S will be considered in that case. Okay, but we are talking about substring, so we'll be using something like this. Okay, so let us solve this problem, and another examples that can be made here in order to solve this is, first is, okay, so first is something, let us consider example of this one. Okay, we have this one xyz, and s2 can be something like cdfx. Okay, so in that case also the output should return us 4, and in this the output was 5. Okay, so that is the problem statement, and now let us try to solve this question. So let me just erase this. Okay, let me just erase this. So basically how we are going to be solving this question, I'm just going to be talking about the idea now. Let us talk about idea first, that how we are going to be solving. So basically we'll be using a DP table for that, and let's see what how it is going to be appearing when we are going to be solving. Let us take the example for gigs. Okay, so basically we have this, right, gigs for gigs, or I'll be taking a shorter example so that I don't need to write more and more. So I'll be taking another example of ABCD XYZ. Okay, and we have 0 before that, and on the this one I'll be having 0 first, and then I'll be writing something like CDX. Okay, so this is basically, CDX is the longest common substring in this both strings. Suppose this is S1, this is S2, so this is the longest substring. Okay, so basically we need to just solve this problem, and for solving this, what we will be doing is we'll be just constructing this table. Okay, let me just write it properly. Okay, So here we have this one, we have this, we have this. Okay, all these are given. Now first thing what we are going to be doing is, so suppose we have this ABCD, right? The first thing is that in string S1 will not be considering any characters, and we are just trying to match with the S2. That is not going to be working. So in this first column, or the first column, we'll be putting all zeros, and in this first row also we'll be putting all zeros here. Okay, because will not be having any match here. Okay, because we'll be just comparing 0 with another thing, so that is not going to be working here. And the other thing, let us in how we used to be doing for the subsequence, as subsequence can be in any order, because it shouldn't be, it couldn't be continuous. For example, if in this case, if we take, so a b x could be a subsequence in this case, but the substring should be a continuous, which means will not be relying on the previous information. For example, till now, suppose we are talking about this, point, so we'll not be considering till this what is the maximum length of the subsequence we have got. Okay, we'll not be doing that. In this case, we'll be just considering the substrings. Okay, so let us give me example. So first of all, we'll be just comparing that whether C and A are equal or not. So here is the condition, that first thing is that we'll all be filling zeros. So suppose if I'm be just calling this table as DP table. Okay, so in DP table, what I'll be doing is, I'll be just making this of L plus 1 and M plus 1. So what is L plus, this is row and this is basically column, and the first condition will be given again here is, will be just checking if I equals to 0 and j equals to 0. So in this case, we'll be having dp of ij equals to 0. Okay, so this is basically the information for filling the first row and first column to be 0. And in else condition, what we'll be checking, the condition which is important in this case is that if our s1 of I minus 1, this is just for iteration, is equals to s2 of j minus 1. Okay, if that is equal, in that case, what we'll be doing, we'll be just updating our dp of ij 1 plus dp of I minus 1 j minus 1. Okay, so that is what we are going to be doing. So that is the first step. And once we are doing that, okay, once we have done that, in else condition, if it is not matching, if it is not matching, then in that case we'll be just updating our dp equals to 0. Okay, let me just take the example. For example, we are going to be talking about this, right? We are in this column, we are in this basically box. Now we will be just taking A and C. They are not matching and they are not into this condition, so they'll be going into else condition and just be filling 0 here. Okay, then they'll be moving ahead and they'll be comparing the same. They'll be again getting 0 because B and C are not equal. In the third case, they'll be moving to the C part. Okay, in C part you can see they are equal, so it will be just going into this in the second condition, else if condition, and that what they are going to be doing, they'll be just incrementing 1 to the 0 of dp of I minus 1 j minus 1. Okay, so they will be adding 1 here. Now again they will be comparing D and C, they will be getting 0. For x, y, z, all they will be getting is 0. Okay, now in the next part, again this D will be checked, all the values will be 0 except D. Now D is a matching, so it will going into this else if condition and it is going to be incrementing the diagonal or the diagonal element. So already 1 is there, so we'll be adding 1 to that and we'll be getting 2 in this case. Okay, and then again x, y, z, all the values will be 0 in this case, and then x is there. Now again x will be compared, so it is not having any match up to this point, and when we can see that we have match up to this point, so what we are going to be doing, we'll be adding 1 to the diagonal element, so we have this 3. Okay, now what is the main task is, we need to make sure that whatever the element we are traversing, we are keeping the note of that. For example, when we are updating any basically whenever we are in this condition, we'll be making a variable, we can call that as max t, and that variable initially it will be 0. Okay, and whenever we are updating, we'll be keeping that max t. Okay, basically max t will be something like max of max t dp of I comma j. So this is the condition that we are going to be giving you. Okay, so I guess that is all about the code which we are going to be implementing. Now let us erase this and try to implement this part. Let us see how we can implement that. So let me just remove this. So here we begin with our coding. So first thing I'll be doing is I'll be just increasing the size here. Okay, and I'll be just writing the boilerplate, and then we'll be just writing two strings. So we'll be taking two strings. First is s1 and we'll be calling that as abcd fg, okay, and something xyz. Okay, so that we can see the proper how it is working. So st is something like that will be matching in between, so we can call that as dfg or x. Okay, in this case. Now let us see what we are going to be doing. Basically this is the same thing which we have did for the past streams also, that we will be just passing that. Okay, because we want only the boolean value, we just want what is the length of the common substring. Okay, so that is the question. So we'll be just printing the value which the function will be giving me, and I'll be just calling that function is LCS, okay, longest common substring basically in this case, and I'll be just passing s1 and s2. I hope till this the point is very clear. Okay, once we are passing this, now let us write this function LCS. So basically two strings will be going into this function, and let us make this function as boolean, and I'll be just calling that as LCS. Okay, in LCS I'll be passing two strings. First is s1 and second is s2. Okay, so this is the now first thing is that I'll be finding the length for them. Okay, because I'll be using the length in various part of this code. I'll be finding the length individually for them. Int L I'll be calling that for s1, and I'll be using size, okay, for finding the length, and int m for again finding the size for s2. So this is done. Once we are doing that, what we are going to be doing, we are making a dp array. So I'll be just considering into dp of l plus 1. Why l plus 1? Because we want that first rows zeros and first columns to be zeros. So here m plus 1 is there, l plus 1 is there. Okay, now what we are going to be doing, we are going to be iterating into this strings. Okay, we'll be just iterating into s1 and s2. Basically we'll be just iterating into the whole this thing, okay, which we have discussed, right? We'll be iterating whole this part, okay, so that we can fill these values. Okay, so let us continue. Now first thing is we'll be just running our for loop for the rows. So it will be starting from I equals to 0, it will be going up to I less than equals to L, okay, then I plus plus. Then for second also we'll be doing same thing, int j equals to 0, and it will be just starting from 0, it will be going up to m, and this is the for loop which it will be working. Okay, we just reduce the size, and here is this part. Let me just remove extra this one. So here we have these two for loops, basically nested for loop, and now we are going to be iterating. So we have seen three conditions. Let us talk about each and every condition. So first condition was that if our I equals to 0 or our j equals to 0. If both these conditions are true, which means we are in the first part. Okay, basically we are in this part. I'll be just showing this. So this part, this all zeros are there, right? So this is basically when I equals to 0. So basically this is I, this is basically I. I'll be just using a different pen, it doesn't look good pink, so I'll be using this different pen now. Let us use this. So basically this is I part and this is j part. Okay, so in I, whenever I is equals to 0, I'll be putting all zeros here in this case, this one, and whenever j is equals to 0, I'll be putting all these values to be 0. Okay, so let's continue, and continue with the code. So here we have this code, and first thing is that we'll be putting dp of I and j equals to 0. Okay, now the second condition was that if there was any matches. Okay, what was the match part? So see, here we have this match. Okay, so second condition is this match one, which means whenever we are getting s1 of j, basically this is s1, this is s2 for us, but we have did the other way. So basically it means the same only. S1 of basically I is equals to s2 of j. Then we'll be just incrementing, adding one position, adding one to the diagonal element basically. Okay, for example, for this case we have added to the 1. For this case we have added 1 plus 1, which comes as 2. Okay, so here we are again doing the same thing. We have s1 and we have, so we'll be doing s1 of I equals to s2 of j. Okay, when this condition is met, and one more thing is that I'll be doing that now. So first thing is, if they are matching, then I'll be just doing something like this. Okay, and one thing is that we are not be using s of I, because why we are not using s1 of I, because we'll be, for example, here we have this, right? We have this 0 and we have this string. Okay, then we have 0 and then we have string 2. Okay, something like this. So for this we have already considered this this if we start our iteration, so this will be something like this: 0 1 2 3 4. And if we consider s1 of I, which means we'll be starting our iteration from this basically from t will be starting, because in this original string the index for this is 1, right? But here it is 2, so we'll be just subtracting I minus 1. Okay, so I hope you have got why we will be doing that. Okay, so let us do that. So first thing is this one, that we'll be looking into this as I minus 1 and here j minus 1. If they both are equal, we'll be adding 1 to the dp of I minus 1 and j minus 1. Okay, once we have done that, what we'll be doing in else part, which means we don't have match, so in the last part what we'll be doing, we'll be just doing this one equals to 0. And one thing which I told you in the starting itself, that we are going to be making the note of the maximum up to that point. So I'll be making a variable, I'm just calling that as maxt, and in this I'll be just doing this maxt. Okay, whenever I'm adding new element, I'll be keeping the note of that, and I'll be just updating that. Okay, so maxt and comma dp of this one is I and this one is j. Okay, and once we are done, what we'll be doing, we'll be just returning our maxt. Okay, because that will be holding the maximum up to that point. So let us try to run the code. Let me just reduce the size so that you can see the whole code here. So basically let us just see once again. So basically we have string 1, we have string 2. Okay, then we are passing string 1 here, string 2 in the LCS function, and in this we are computing L and M, which is the size for S1 and S2 respectively. And then we have dp, we are making a dp table of L plus 1 rows and then M plus 1 columns. Okay, and then we have maxt equals to 0 for storing the values, and then we are running a nested for loop. Okay, and we are checking if I equals to 0, j equals to 0, we'll be putting dp of I and this one. And if we are matching s1 of I minus 1 equals to s2 of j minus 1, then we'll be adding or basically updating our dp of ij with the 1 plus dp of I minus 1 j minus 1, and we'll be having maxt, which will be just holding the maximum up to that point. Whenever we are adding something, we'll be just storing that maxt. Okay, and in the end we'll be just returning this maxt here. Okay, so let us try to run the code and see the output. So looks fine to me. So you can see we are getting only 1 up to that point. So I just need to see why we are getting 1. So it should be actually returning us the maximum value. So why it is showing us 1? It is showing us 1. So I just need to check once again whether we have done the part right or not. I think we have done the part right. I just need to check once again. Yes, I made the mistake of making this function as boolean, which was my fault. So basically it should return integer, which we were expecting. Okay, and I'll be just calling this function as LCS now. Okay, sorry for that. I by mistakenly made that function as boolean, so which basically was returning true uh, because we have non-zero value, so it was returning 1 to us. So that was the problem, and now I guess this will be working fine. Okay, and we have the string s2, and then we'll be having x, y, z or bct. So whenever we're trying to run this code, you can see we'll be getting when of passing. So just pass that and try to print the value. So we'll be having LCS, and in this we'll be passing s1 comma s2. Okay, so everything looks fine to me now, and let us try to run the code now. So it should work fine. Basically the only problem which we did, yes, so you can see we what the mistake we were doing, we are just creating the boolean which returns only false or true. So due to this, which we are getting the output as 1. So in that case we'll be just writing this integer, because it will be returning some values, basically the length of the substring. Okay, so Vijay is asking, can you explain me the part where s1 of I minus 1 in this part, right? So basically in our substring, what is s1 in this case? Okay, let me just take, so here you can see we have this s1, right? So we have this s1 is something like a b c d f g. and S2 is something XYZ BCD. Okay, basically this is the longest, which means answer is 3. But whenever we are doing this on table, so suppose I have S1 here, so A, B, C, D, F, G, okay, and here X, Y, Z, B, C, D. Okay, so this is the problem. Now in this table, when you see, this table is basically, if we do something like dp of L plus 1 and M plus 1, okay, this table of this size. Now if we want to access this A, which means here in this case, so basically for this position is suppose 1 comma 0, but we have only 1, right? So we have only 1 and we have 0 for this, and if we want this element to be here, so in order to access this element, what we will be doing, whatever the element, suppose this is I, so we will be doing I minus 1, so this 1 will be basically becomes 0 in this case whenever we are searching in this string. Okay, so it will be just pointing here. Whenever we are talking about this position, which is 2 comma 0, so in this position we want this to, basically this all will be 0 only, just for sake of explaining. Suppose I am just doing this part. So this position is basically this is 1 comma 1. Okay, basically this will be 1 comma, this will be 1 comma 1. Okay, if we start our iteration from 0 0 0 0 1 0 2, something like it will go. This will be 1 comma 1, this will be 1 comma 1 comma 0 1 comma 1. Now we want in this position we want to access A and Y, but we have indexes I equals to 1 and J equals to 1, and we want access to this element, so we'll be doing I minus 1 J minus 1, so that we can access this element of the original string. Although here in this table, just for saying it is there X, but we want to access that element in our string S1, so we'll be doing S1 of I minus 1, which is we already have 1, so this is basically I minus 1, so it will be basically S of 0, which is this position, we are checking this value, and for S2 of I minus 1 we'll be considering this value X, so it will be S2 of 0, which is X. Now again 1 comma 2, which means this position S1 will be remaining A only, and 2, which means 2 minus 1, which is this value Y, so we'll be comparing A and Y in this case. Okay, so I hope that part is clear to you, Vijay, I think. Okay, so this part is done. Now let us talk about the problem again, the next problem. So here the main thing you want to notice that we do not mess up with the function data type. So example, here we are returning integer, so that is cool, but we shouldn't use boolean here. Okay, so I hope that part is clear. Now let us move ahead with the next question, and the next question which we are going to be solving is of balanced parenthesis. Okay, and one more problem is that count and say, that is little lengthy, so we'll be doing tomorrow that problem, but now we'll be checking about balanced parenthesis, and this is one of the most important and repeated questions whenever we are dealing with such problems. So basically this problem is very simple. Suppose we have these brackets. Okay, we have these brackets, and I know that most of you have already seen this type of problems, that we need to check whether they are balanced or not. For example, this is balanced. Okay, this is basically string S1, and we need to check whether this are balanced or not. So this one is balanced because whenever we are opening something, we are closing before opening of another thing. Okay, for example, if we have something like this, so this will not be a balanced. Okay, this will not be a balanced. In this case, we'll be returning not balanced. Another part is, if we are having something like this is balanced, this is also balanced, this is balanced, but this is not balanced. Okay, this is not balanced, this is balanced, this is balanced, and if we have something like this is balanced, something like this is balanced. If we have something like this, so this is also a balanced. Okay, this is also balanced, so no problem in that. In this case also we'll be writing yes, it is balanced. Okay, so these are some of the examples of balanced substring, balanced parentheses basically. And if we have something like this is also balanced. Okay, so this is the problem. Now let us see how we are going to be solving. So let us discuss the idea first. If you just want to give some ideas, you can write in the comments. So basically idea is very simple. So what is the idea behind solving this problem? So we'll be just considering a little lengthier this one string. So I'm constructing this one now. Okay, so this is just randomly so string created, parenthesis basically. Now we need to check whether this is balanced or not. So in this case this is balanced. Okay, we have already seen. Now let us see how we'll be basically solving this. So basically we'll be creating a stack. Okay, so this is the first time in which we are using stack, and in addition to that we'll also be uh, iterating and checking the values here. So this is stack, we'll calling that as stack, and then we'll be just pushing these elements first. Whenever we are meeting with this, whenever we are able to see any opening brackets, for example whether this can be this or this or this, okay, whenever we are seeing anything like this, we'll be just pushing that into our stack. For example in this you can see we have this, right? So I'm just creating this little bigger. Okay, so you can see we have this. Okay, let me just rough this. So here we have this. Now first task is to iterate into this string. So we are at this position. Okay, I'll be using yellow blue. I am at this position now, so I'll be iterating this string. So we have this which means it is opening, so we'll be pushing into our stack. Then we again see we have opening, so we'll be pushing into this stack. Now we have closing. Yeah, okay, so closing is there, which means in the top of the stack this element, the closing element should be there. Okay, so you can see we have this closing element now, and that is present there. So we'll be popping this element. So first thing is we'll be popping, so we'll be just getting rid of this. Now we are at this position is done, this position is done. Now this is there, which is again opening. Opening means we will be just pushing into our stack. This is done. Now we have again opening, and we are at this position, so we'll be again opening here. Then we are closing, and now we'll be checking the top of our stack. It should be closing for this. So you can see we have this closing. Okay, we have this closing. So you can see we have closing, so we'll be just popping that element now. So how will we popping? We'll be just removing that from there. Okay, now we are at this position, this one. So we have this one, so we'll be checking the top of the task because this is closing bracket. So we'll be checking whether it is present. Yes, it is present, so we'll be just popping that element from here. So we have popped element from here. So we are at this position, right? Now we are at this position, this is again opening, so we'll be pushing element here. Then we have this closing, so we'll be just removing this from here. So we have removed this element from here, and at the end we have this one. So which means we are going to be checking with we are not going to be pushing, basically we'll be checking whether the opposite for this string is present or not. So in this case you can see we have present here, so we'll be just writing true, or basically we'll be just popping out from that. Okay, so here we'll be just popping this out, and you can see our stack is empty. Now whenever we know that stack is empty, which means all the values are properly removed from there, and we'll be just returning true in that case. Okay, so let us discuss this problem now. And first thing is I'll be just writing this boilerplate, making this little bigger, and I'll be just making a string in which I'll be storing all these values. So we have this one, and I'll be just constructing a different or random. So you can say this, for this it should be returning us balanced, because this is balanced, right? So we'll be just giving this condition that if my checker function, I'll be just calling that as checker, or I'll be writing checker only, makes more sense. So we have passed that as s, and whenever it is returning true, which means which means it is balanced. Okay, in else condition it is not balanced. Okay, now let us talk about that checker function which we have made here. So first thing is, this time we are not going to mistake that we are going to be declaring that as boolean function, and I'll be just calling that as checker, and in this I'll be just passing our string s. Okay, once we have passed that, then first thing is that we are going to be checking. First we are going to be finding the length. Okay, if our first I'll be making a stack here so that I can store, and then this stack will be of characters, and I'll be calling that as st. Okay, and second thing I'll be finding the length, and s dot size is how I'm finding the length here. Now I am just going to be iterating in this string and checking for the values. Okay, so here I'll be just iterating. So for that I'll be just pushing this I equals to 0, I less than s dot size I plus plus, and first thing is I'll be checking whenever I'm getting opening brackets. Okay, whenever I'm getting opening brackets I'll be just pushing that. Okay, for example s of I equals to we shouldn't use something like this. Okay, it will be showing error. Instead of, if it is single character, we'll be using single quotes only. Okay, so you can see we are using single quotes, and in this we are pushing all these elements. So let me just copy this for all. Okay, so or the same thing for our parenthesis, and then or, and the same thing for our this one array bracket. I think this is box bracket. Okay, so this bracket, this type of bracket, whenever we are dealing with this, we'll be just pushing that elements in our stack. So we'll be just pushing this element st dot push of s of I. Okay, now what is the thing which here we have this string, right? We have this, and this, and this is our stack. I am just considering this is our stack. So we are at this position. Okay, we have seen opening, so it will be just pushing into this. So this is pushed into our stack. I'm calling this stack st. Then we have second thing, this one parenthesis, again it will be going to be into this stack. Okay, now we have this one. Okay, it is not going to be pushing into stack, but we are at this position. So at this position we are going to be checking top of the stack. Okay, if we are getting whatever is at the top of the stack which is opening, so if they are matching, means the brackets are matching the type of brackets, then we are just going to be removing them. Okay, we are going to be just removing or basically popping from that. So else, if what I'm going to be checking, I'm just going to be checking the top of the stack. Okay, if first thing is this one, if my s of I, okay, if my s of I becomes, let us make a checker string here. Okay, I'll be just pushing a temporary string in which I'll be pushing all the closing brackets that I can just refer to them. Okay, this is just a temporary string which I created. Now what I am going to be doing, what is my approach is this, that whenever I am dealing with closing brackets, okay, whenever I am going to be dealing with the closing brackets, so I'll be just seeing whether that closing bracket or whether that type of bracket is present in this or not. Okay, so basically that is my approach. So here we have this one. Okay, now if that if I'm able to find I'm able to find this type of bracket st dot temp dot find of s of I. Okay, if I'm able to find s of I, which is not equals to n pos, so in that case not equals to n pos, so in that case what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be popping from there. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be doing. If I'm dealing with this bracket, and so let us see whether we are correct or not. So basically we are going to be pushing this into our stack. We'll not be pushing, basically we'll be popping our stack from there. Okay, that is not going to be working, but let us do for just practice it, that because what let us try, and I'll be just showing why it will not be working. So you can see we have this one, we did this part, and now if in else condition, there shouldn't be any else condition because we have already checked all the values. So basically closing bracket and ending bracket should be there, and now whenever we are going to be here, if our so basically here I am just writing, so if our stack is empty, which means we have already checked. Okay, so if stack is empty, then we'll be just returning true. If stack is empty, returning true, else will be returning false. Let us try to run the code for this, and in this code I don't think any problem will be there. Okay, basically it should be double equals to, I messed it up. So guys, you can see in this problem whenever we are going to be running, so this is showing is balanced. Okay, but one tricky thing is that whenever we are doing something like this, okay, let us see what is going to be showing now. So see, this is also showing as balanced. Okay, because what is the problem is that while ending we are just checking this character. Okay, we are going to be just checking this character, and this will be showing as balanced, although this is showing as correct only, but this is not the correct solution. Okay, so instead of doing this checker, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be putting our conditions here. Okay, so first condition is that if our bracket is this one, okay, if our so first thing is this, that if our s of I is equals to closing bracket of this one, okay, and our sj dot top both are, if both condition are true, if sj top equals to basically opening bracket, so we're just doing that and putting the normal and this one, if this is the condition, so in this first thing is this, let me just make it little small. You can see we are going to be this one, whenever we are pushing something we don't need to be going into the other condition, so I'll be using little, making the code efficient. Now whenever I'm meeting this empty bracket and I'm just seeing that my top is also this one, so in that case I'll be just popping that element now sg top. Okay, and if I'm not able to see this, okay, so in that case I'll not be any popping, so which means the stack will not be empty, so I don't need to worry about that. Now in the next condition is the same thing for other things also I'll be doing. Okay, so I'll be just copying this and pasting this. Okay, so basically this should be, if I got the brackets like this, and I can see that my top is something like this, so I'll be just popping that, and same thing for this one, and I have opening bracket at the top of my stack, so I'll be doing that. If both conditions are true, then only I'll be popping. Okay, otherwise I'll not be popping. So if I'm not popping anything, I'll be having something in stack, and it will not be empty, and then it will be just doing here. Okay, so it works. I think it will work fine. Let us try to run the code now. So for this it is showing us balanced, but when we're trying to run the code for this one, it will be showing not balanced. Okay, so that is the thing which we wanted to discuss here. So let us take another example. So let us see, for this one it should work fine, no problem, but when we add another here, it will be showing us an error. Okay, basically not error, not balanced is what we are expecting. Okay, so that is the second problem for today which we have solved. So if you have any doubts, you can always ask in the problem. This is not a very tough question, it is just a simple and a basic question. Okay, so I have approached, I have given you the approach. Okay, so this is basically not required here, we can remove that from here. And okay, so that is done. Now let us move to the next question, and that question is little tougher than this. I'll not say that that is much tougher, but that is a good question to solve. So that problem is count and say. Okay, that problem name is count and say problem. So what the problem is, so let us talk about this. What is this count and say problem? So for example, I have already explained what is count say problem in the last, but I'll be just giving a brief description of this count and say problem. So suppose we have given the input as 1. Okay, basically we are going to be giving the input from 1 to 30. Whenever we are giving input something like 1, okay, so it should return us 1 as a string. Okay, whenever I am giving input as 2, okay, so it should be reading this one first. It should be telling how many, what is the frequency for that, and the digit which we are dealing with this. Okay, for example, in this case you can see we have 1. So basically we have 1 1 1. Okay, we have 1 1. Okay, let me explain. In third you will be seeing. So first we will be telling how many frequencies of 1s are there. So first it will be 2 1. So we have 2 1s in the previous, but this is for the third. Now fourth, if we do, so it should be returning us, we have 1 2 and 1 1. Okay, in the fifth, what we'll be doing, how we'll be reading this? So this will be basically 1 1 1 2, then we have 2 1. Okay, so I hope this is making sense to you. So first we'll be reading how many ones are there. 3 1s, 2 2s, 1 1. Okay, so this is working good now. So first we'll be reading 1 3, we have 1 1, we have 2 2s. Okay, we have 2 2s, then we have 2 1s. Okay, then in the 8th we'll be having something like 1 1, we have 1 3, we have 2 1s, we have 3 2s, then we have 1 1. Okay, so you can see this is how it is going to be working. And there are some of these things, there are some observations are there, but I'll be not discussing this now. We'll be discussing at the end of this problem. Okay, so let us start. Let us see if we are going to be solving this question on time. So basically, let me just erase this. So first thing is, I'll be just getting my boilerplate, and I'll be just increasing the size here. So first thing is, I'll be making that input. Okay, so for example, if my input int I, okay, or I'll be just calling that as n equals to 1, for this is 1. Now I'll be just making this work cout, and I'll be just calling this function, what I can call this function as count and say is what I'm going to be calling that. Okay, and I'll be just passing n. Okay, okay, I'll be just passing that as n here. So that is going to be working fine. Now let us solve this question by writing the function here. So we are going to be talking about this function as this question is going to be returning a string. Okay, as it's going to be returning a string, so I'll be making a function for string type, not a boolean again. Okay, so you can see we have this string, then I'll be having this count say function. In this I'll be just taking integer n. Okay, so this is done. Now the first condition, what can be the first condition? First condition is whenever we have input as 1, so in that case we are only be returning 1. Okay, so that is the base case. In case of 2, what will be returning? Will be returning 1 1. Okay, so this is the two cases. So first case is that we have our n equals to 1. Okay, in that case we'll be just returning our 1, no issues in that. And if we have n equals to 2, okay, so in that case I'll be just returning 1 1. Okay, no issues in that. Now whenever we have something like 3 4 5, so in this iteration what my approach is that I'll be running for loop that many times. I'll be doing operation to convert this 1 1 to something like 2 1 for the next 3 whenever input is 3. So I'll be just running a for loop which will start basically from I equals to 3, it will go up to I less than equals to n. Okay, and in this I'll be just incrementing I plus plus. Okay, this part is done. Now in order to do the operation I'll be making a string. I'll be calling that string as str. Okay, and I'll be calling that as 1 1. So this is basically the str which I need to work on, and that is what I'm going to be returning. So I have this 1 1, I need to convert this string to the answer, and I'll be just returning that string from here, from this function. Okay, so first thing is we are going to be working this. So in order to prevent this from out of boundary, okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be adding any character at the end of this. Okay, I can add something like star, I'll be pushing dollar. Okay, so basically we have added a string, basically we have added this dollar sign at the end of this. Then we need to make a count variable which will start at 1. We will be making a string temporary, which from our string will be converted into this temporary. We'll be making this temp, and whatever the length will be there for this. Okay, so by adding this I'll be making a length variable also, so that is basically str dot size. Okay, you can always use length as well, so no issues in that. So I'll be using that, and string temporary is there. Okay, that will be basically empty string. Now for now I'll be running a for loop which will start by at position I 1 not 0, because we are going to be making sure that we are not getting out of bound. So I'll be just writing that, and I'll be running up to I less than length. Okay, if we are running I less than L, which means it will be reaching to this position, because this string has been now converted to something like this. Okay, dollar. Now whenever we are reaching up to this position, okay, we'll be not reaching at this position, we'll be just seeing that. Okay, so first thing is that if I do not get anything, if I'm not getting anything match, so that is the condition which I need to be checking first, that if my str of I is not equals to str of I minus 1. If that is not the case, so what I'm going to be doing, I'm at this position, right? So first thing is I'm not going to be doing anything. For example, if this case is something like this, so for whatever the element is there, that I'm going to be pushing first. So in this case, if this is the match, if I'm not getting anything match with the previous, so first thing I'll be just pushing that into a temporary. So I'll be pushing, first I'll be pushing the count, okay, temporary plus the count, and I'll be just adding character 0, so that to convert into character, because this is integer count. And in else condition, I'll be just making sure that I'm counting, because if it is not matching, which means this 1 is there. If 1 is there, which means we will be incrementing our count variable, which will be taken care in the next iteration. Okay, so I'll be pushing that, and I'll be also pushing this one, this element, which is nothing but my s of, basically str of I minus 1. Okay, so that is what I'll be pushing. Okay, so basically str of I will be checked here, str of I with the I, basically here it is there, str of I minus, it will be checked. If it is equal, which means we'll be incrementing over this, then we'll be moving up to this position. Okay, we'll be just moving up to this position, and we'll be checking that is not length, it is less than length, so we'll be checking this one, then we'll be pushing into this again. Okay, and one thing is that I need to make sure, so where is this else condition? So after this, so once I am doing this operation, I need to make sure that I am updating my str to my temporary, or basically whatever the string which I have created, because in this case the what will be converted, how it will be converted is, I'll be having first I'll be adding the occurrences. Here I'll be adding 2, then I'll be adding 1. Okay, and I will not be doing anything, so I need to change this to the next point, and then I'll be again adding this one. Okay, $sign, so that I'm not getting out of bound. And again it will be starting from this position, and you can see we don't have anything as matched. Okay, so what it's going to be doing, it is going to be pushing the count first. So count is already 1 is there, so it will be pushing 1 here, then the element which is present here, so it will be pushing 2, then again it will go point to the dollar, and will be just pushing the element which is here, which is count, so it will be again 1, and the element, so it will be 1. And then whenever we are doing again the next iteration, for the, suppose we are input as 5, so in this will be pushing dollar again, so that I will not get out of bound. Okay, so this is how it is going to be working. So let us try to run the code and see the output. What is the output for this? So here it is semicolon. You can see we are getting the output as 1. Okay, so I'll be calling it as string s equals to this one, and I'll be printing s. Okay, so basically it is 1 only, that's why I was getting this. If I add 3, I'll be getting 2 1. If I do 4, I'll be getting 1 2 2 1 2 1 1, correct. Okay, so for 5 also it will be working fine. So this is how we are going to be solving this problem, which is this one, count and say. So that's it for this stream. I hope you like the stream. If you like, please hit the like button. And tomorrow we'll be again meeting and we'll be solving some interesting problem on strings. We'll also be trying to incorporate some other data structures along with the string, so that we can solve the problem in which we have both the combination of string and other data structures. For example, we have used stacked strings a little differently. We'll also be trying to use maps and set in this next class, okay, next stream, which is tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be meeting tomorrow, same place, same time.
Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from Geeks for Geeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about from very basics, we will be covering the topics in strings that are important for interview preparations. So do join us 3 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from Geeks for Geeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about from very basics, we will be covering